Brown. What type of time we on? Welcome into the Ultimate Browns. It's your host, G. Bush in the building. We got a good one scheduled for you guys today. Welcome on everybody in here. We're going to talk a lot about what we got going on. The Browns, guess what? They sweep the award season, Defensive Player of the Year, Coach of the Year, Assistant of the Year, as well as Joe Flacco himself. Shout out to Flacco out there, winning the Comeback Player of the Year. We also got some news. The Cleveland Browns, are they on the move? Are they on the move? We'll talk about stadium relocation and all that good stuff. And, of course, the best part of the show and the interaction with you guys is the fan mail, the questions in the super chats. If you have not noticed and you don't know, the Cleveland Browns, yes, the Ultimate Browns Show is the first UCSS channel that has the fan mail line. If you want to be part of the show, if you want to get interactive with the show, hit me up on the fan mail. You see it down there on the bottom line. We get to your comments, we get to your questions, and we get to all the above and everything in between. First of all, let's get it going. Today, we got a good one for you, and we talk about it. The Browns sweep the award ceremonies. Let's get into that right now. We'll look at no other than me, Jay Crawford, and Adam the Bull talking about the Cleveland Browns on today's UCSS show. If you have not checked that out, make sure you check out UCSS, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss this. But here's some ideas of what we thought about the Cleveland Browns and what they did. Something special in the award ceremonies.
I mean, I'm only surprised because I didn't think Flacco would win.
I am too.
I mean, the assistant coach of the year, I didn't have any feel for that. So, but you thought he had a good chance. I assumed Stefanski and Myles Garrett were going to win at this point, but I was stunned that Joe Flacco won because I thought people, as a lot of people did, would vote for Damar Hamlin. We've talked about this. I think voting for Damar Hamlin is ridiculous. And it's no offense to him.
So did 6 or 7 other voters.
Right. I mean, listen, we understand. Give him an award for something else. But he didn't come back because he didn't play. He came back from death. I get it. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. That's his biggest comeback you can make.
Yes, but he didn't play.
Yeah.
But even without Damar Hamlin, I would have assumed that both Baker and Stafford would have finished ahead of Flacco, but it didn't happen.
Yeah, his story was so remarkable. I think the fact that he was just out of the game completely. It's not like he was injured last year and came back. The guy spent 2/3 of the season watching from his living room. The reason I think they got this right, ultimately, I think they missed an opportunity to do a big emotional 5-minute award feature, and at the end of it announce that each year from this day forward there will be a Damar Hamlin Courage Award winner.
Right.
I think the league missed a huge opportunity.
I like that.
And this is a league that, from a marketing standpoint, misses very little.
Yeah, that's true.
But I just felt like the crowd wanted desperately to give him the standing ovation that he deserves.
Sure, yeah.
And I felt badly that he never got that opportunity.
Yeah, that was weird.
They did, you saw a little brief snippet, but the emotion of a player dying on the field, that's what is in the back of every player's mind. That can happen.
Yeah.
And so I thought they missed that opportunity. But I think at the end they got it right. The award is Comeback Player of the Year.
And you can see that that was Jay Crawford, myself, and Adam the Bull talking about, a little bit about Joe Flacco. He did win Comeback Player of the Year. And I think when you look at what Joe Flacco went through and what he did was, he it's the momentum ride. I talked about it before. It's political season. And one of the things that Joe Flacco did is Flacco really captured the minds and the hearts of the people of Cleveland. And it was such a good story that it was going to be an uphill battle for anybody else other than winning that award, even though Damar Hamlin did come back, as Bull said, right? He came back from the ultimate thing, which was, he died on the field and came back. If I went viral talking about Damar Hamlin and how the league should be looking at players and player safety and player health and different things like that. And I agree with Adam the Bull. You do have to come back, and you definitely have to play a little bit. You have to be an individual that's going to play, and you have to be able to, I think, play at a high level for you to win that award. But when you look at the thumbnail of this video, we talk about it, and then how I wanted to dissect this thing was saying, okay, look at it this way. The Cleveland Browns win Coach of the Year. The Cleveland Browns win Defensive Player of the Year and Myles Garrett. We'll get to some of the comments later on. with TJ Watt being all in his feelings. Come on, TJ. You're in your feelings right now. And then we talk about Jim Schwartz and the job he did, the assistant of the year. And then obviously we talk about Coach Stefanski as the coach of the year. Now, look, I talked to Mike McNuggets, and he said this on the way into the show today as we were doing our morning meeting. He said, man, you know what, G. Bush, it's kind of crazy that we swept these awards, and yet and still it leaves an even worse taste in my mouth because you like to figure that if you got the defensive player of the year, the coach of the year, the best assistant coach, and the comeback player of the year as quarterback, you should be able to beat the Houston Texans. And I thought about that. I didn't go as far as he did, but what I did say was this. As I look at this situation and I talk about it, one of the reasons why this is so difficult for me is I look at it and say, are you any closer to the Super Bowl, the ultimate prize? Yes, we got these 4 awards, and that's nice. And for the fan base, it's something that's nice to look at because we don't get celebrated often. It's very rare we see our team, our colors, or anything, and with winning awards at the end of the season. But one of the awards that we want most is the Lombardi Trophy. And my question is to you is, it's an interesting season because it's not duplicatable, because Joe Flacco came in and did what he needed to do, kind of like as a buffer for the Browns. He led them. He didn't have them drop in the standings. They didn't make the playoffs. Myles Garrett has been one of his defensive player of the year since he's been in the league. He's finally got that. Schwartz had a defense that was cooking the rest of the season. And so you look at all these things, and the thing that hits me the most is that's all fine and dandy. But the moves in the offseason will tell you that it's all about what we're talking about with Deshaun Watson. Every move that we've made so far, including Ken Dorsey coming in as offensive coordinator, points to the fact that the brass, especially D. Podesta and Haslam, believe one thing. If you believe that you are going to take the play calling away from the coach of the year, you better do that. And you better be sure that you're on the right path. Because it's something to be said for this. And I want to give Kevin Stefanski his flowers a little bit. You could be a detractor. I said this on Cleveland.com. And he asked me, he says, listen, Coach Stefanski is one of only 2 coaches, I believe 2 of 13 that have won more than 1 coach of the year. He has 2 now. And when you look at some of the names that you got Parcells, you got George Halas, you got Don Shula, you got some of the who's who in coaching. And when you got the who's who in coaching out there moving around, and you hear the fact that these are the guys that he's associated with, you better be sure that you got it right with the offensive coordinator if you are going to strip him of plays. And one thing to be said, man, there's some men lie, women lie, numbers don't. He definitely has 2 out of 4 years. And think about what he did. He did it in COVID. He also did it when you have 5, 6, 7 different quarterbacks. So there's one thing I will say. I got to give Coach Stefanski his flowers, and that's something that we really got to talk about moving forward. But here to me, I think, this is going to be a year that we have to definitely look at, and I think it's going to be interesting because I don't think they're necessarily any closer to getting to the Super Bowl. And I had to say that in dismay because I look at what Patrick Mahomes is doing. He's the Michael Jordan of football right now. I've said it on multiple platforms, and there's a bunch of people that never got championship rings because Jordan happened to be in their way. I talk about it. The Stocktons, the Malones, the Patrick Ewings, the Charles Barkleys of the world, the Reggie Millers of the world, right? Even when he was really, really cooking, teams like Clyde Drexler never got no ring while he was hanging out. The Mitch Richmonds, you got the Chris Mullins, the really good players at that time never saw any rings because of Michael Jordan. The Browns need to do something very special and to get in that upper echelon, and they better implement Operation Stockpile when we talk about that. Coming up, we're going to talk about the Cleveland Browns moving. They are moving and shaking out here. Doing their thing, and they've purchased some land. We'll talk about what Jimmy Haslam is doing. They got some fans up in arms, and we will take your comments, and we'll get to that as well. You're listening to the ultimate Cleveland Browns show on the UCSS network. Well, let me get to this, man. Shout out to my man Earl the Pearl. We not only have the Ultimate Browns, but what we got is the Ultimate 216 show as well. The Ultimate Cleveland Browns experience and the Ultimate UCSS is splintered off. We've got Ultimate 216 Earl the Pearl Thursdays at 5 p.m. Check him out. He has community leaders, community activists. He talks about sports as well, but he gets into the community and the culture of Cleveland, the Ultimate 216. You don't want to miss it. Make sure subscribe to the channel, hit the notification so you know every single night we're bringing you in unique content. Thursdays at 5 p.m. is where you can catch Earl the Pearl and Ultimate 216. And of course, it's brought to you by nobody else but the UCSS network. All right, let's get to some of your comments as well here. I'll get to your comments. We got a super chat already in the building. Super chat. Nicole D, go Browns. The individual awards are great, but next year we must get closer to the ultimate goal. I'm not saying we have to win the Super Bowl, but division champs is a fair expectation. You know what, Nicole, I like what your mindset is with that. I look at it like this. I believe that the Cleveland Browns, it is imperative that they get a home field playoff game. When you look at the way that this thing is structured up right now, and you take a look at what the teams that we got involved, you got Herbert in the Chargers. You got Aaron Rodgers coming back to the divisions with the Jets. You also got Joe Burrow coming back off from injury. You know you got the MVP, Lamar Jackson. Josh Allen is hungry, chomping at the bit, trying to get over Patrick Mahomes. And then Patrick Mahomes, all he does is win, win, win. It sounds like we T-Pain or something. And guess where he at? He in the Super Bowl right now. So I agree with you. The Browns have to come out, and this is for Deshaun Watson and the offense. They don't have no time for half-stepping. They got to get to it and get to it quickly, and especially they got to get to it early in the season because I think it's imperative that they get a home playoff win. Once you get a home playoff game, then you can take your chances on the road, but it's slim pickings saying that we got to come out here, and guess what? We got to get through four road games to get to the Super Bowl. I think that's a little bit too much. This is the fastest 30 minutes in football, fastest 30 minutes in the building. We got your man, Dog Pound for Life. We see you. Awesome G. Bush, my first live show in a while. Glad to be here. Thank you so much, Joseph Potter. We are going to be here every single Monday and Friday from 5 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. And then on Mondays, we're going to have our Legends edition coming up. Don't miss Monday. We got Jerry Ball coming up here, right here, live on the Ultimate Cleveland, Ultimate Browns. I can't say Cleveland. Ultimate Browns right here, Ultimate Browns show. We got him coming up, and I got a special guest coming up the next Monday after that. You don't want to miss it. Interviews, insight, all that good stuff, and we'll do that here. Before we get to some of the rest of your comments, let's get into our second topic of the day. The Browns moving? What? No, don't worry. They're not moving out of town. They are, I will say Jimmy Haslam has purchased a large plot of land. This is a clip that we're going to play, and this was from the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Jason Lloyd talks about breaking down what it looks like for the Cleveland Browns, and should we be worried that the Browns are moving from the Lake Shores out of town to the suburbs? We'll talk about it now.
It's true that they are close to an agreement.
Yeah.
It's not done. I already forgot what the tweet said, if it was done or not. But it's not done, but they're close to an agreement that would give them the right to purchase it. So that's true. It's a hammer in negotiations, right? Right. I think the Browns have been frustrated by the city slow playing this. The city has not been as proactive at coming to the negotiating table as the Browns would like. So now they just went out and bought a really big hammer. Or they're in the process of potentially buying a really big hammer that you can say, okay, well, then we're just going to go over here. Now, there's still a lot of loops to close if you're going to try and build a new stadium on this land. But certainly obviously that's why they're buying it, right? That's why they're buying it. Now, you could buy that land, sit on it, and redevelop it into something else. Sure. You could, but obviously this is right next to the practice facility.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. It's close to the stadium. It's a giant area. The thing that's interesting, I've actually been the last few days digging in on the stadium stuff.
Yeah.
And I was kind of zeroing in on the IX Center. That's where I thought
The other side of
I was on the wrong side.
Yeah.
So, the interesting part about this land is there are, let's say that this gets done and the stadium's going here. There are FAA rules about height restrictions that close to the airport because of runways and everything else.
Sure.
So, depending on where they put this thing, I was told, because when I was looking at the IX Center site, I was told they may have to put a significant portion of it underground because you have to keep it low for the runways.
Well, you have it right there, Jason Lloyd of The Athletic and Jason Lloyd of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Shout out to him. He's talking about it. Listen, right now, I think that he's right. This is a negotiation piece. This is a tool to be used so that the Cleveland Browns can go to the city and Mayor Bibb, who's been on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, and say, listen, hey, the Browns are the crown jewel of what Cleveland sports is about, right? This is a Browns town. Check it out. When we try to talk about Browns, Cavs, Guardians, we know who comes in first pecking order. And the going rate for whatever we are talking about is they are going to want upwards of $1 billion in tax funds. Is the city of Cleveland willing to dip into some of those? Are we willing to do a sin tax? Are we willing to get some of this gambling money up? Because gambling they done made a couple $1 billion in just gambling alone now that it's legal in the state of Ohio. Are you willing? Marijuana is legal in the state of Ohio now. Are you going to be able to tax that? There's a lot of different areas and avenues to what they're talking about. And them buying that plot of land is just another way of saying, hey, look, we got this land here. If you want to keep the Browns downtown, if you want to keep the revitalization going, if you want to keep that money coming in and the muni lot jumping like we always we talk about, they're using it as a bargaining chip, to be truthful. And I listen. Look, it's an election. Mayor Bibb is up for election as well. And guess what? His constituents ain't up for giving a half a whole $1 billion away in certain circumstances. So the thought process is to me is this: they've already went out and purchased. They've invested in Columbus with the crew. They've went out and made a large, substantial investment. We don't know how much. So in the Milwaukee Bucks in another state. Now they've gone, by the airport, more strategically located, and they bought a plot of land. Now, listen, if you're the Browns and you're the city, I'm anxious to see what the councilmen say. I'm anxious to see what you're willing to put up with and what you're willing to pay for. And what better platform to go ahead and hit me up at GBush91, as you can see. What do you think? Comments ready to go? Do you believe that the Cleveland Browns actually are planning on moving, or they just using it as a negotiation chip? And as a taxpayer, what are you willing to pay for? What are you willing to put down? How much more are you willing to give in taxes, right? And do the Browns owe it to the people to keep it downtown? Do they owe it to the fans of an organization that already left you once high and dry? Do they owe it to you that the Haslam's need to put up the majority of that money and keep the stadium where it is? We'll come back and get your questions, your comments, your concerns on that. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and do that right now. I ain't even going to take a break. We'll come back and get your comments here in a second. Let's go to the comments right now. Let's see. Let me see what you say. A lot of Go Browns. We appreciate you guys checking out. Definitely living in Worcester for a decade and in Jacksonville, Florida for 8 years. I can say going that far down into the soil with that much water would be suspect. I'm thinking you guessing you're talking about with the plan to build a new stadium somewhere. JoJo boy going to build a Super 8 next to it for a visiting team. Y'all crazy, man. Oh man. Grass and Brass said Browns ain't going nowhere. I agree with that. And let's see, man. And J-Dog CC6, we talk about going back a little bit, talk about the Haslam's. That tells you right there that he's not forcing the issue of play calling and plays. He's happy with Kevin calling him if that's what happens. So we'll in the comment section when you guys see this, let me know. Are you willing to pay a little bit of extra on the backside when it comes to making sure the Browns stay downtown? We'll come back and we'll get to you. Coming up next, we take your fan mail questions. Hey, we got some hotline members and we take your super chats as well. It is G. Bush here on the Ultimate Brown Show, only on the UCSS Network. You already know what it is. We talked about it. We got to it. We said it's the Ultimate 216 and Earl the Pearl. But don't forget, the Ultimate Cavs is there as well. Tuesdays at 5 p.m., we got Mikey McNuggets. We got Jason Lloyd of The Athletic, and they're doing a good job of breaking down Cavaliers. I know we're heavy on the Browns, but guess what? We starting to get to these Cleveland Cavaliers. Number 2 seed in the East right now. Number 2 seed in the East, Donovan Mitchell playing almost 29 points a game. Evan Mobley shooting threes now. You're going to want to be down there. You're going to want to know all about the Cavs. Maybe there's some free agents that you're looking to get on the buyout market. Mikey McNuggets got you covered. Jason Lloyd got you covered. Make sure you check that out Tuesday at 5 p.m. on the UCSS Network. And remember, subscribe to the channel so you know when they're coming on. Tuesdays at 5 is the Ultimate Cavaliers. All right, we back at it. We're going to get to fan mail. We get the quickest. It's about 9 minutes left of the show. The quickest 30 minutes in all of sports right now. We're going to get to our fan mail line, and we're going to get to some people who got some questions. Remember, if you got questions, if you got any questions, you got any comments, you got concerns, the fan mail line is open. Do like these individuals did, and you could possibly be on the show. We'll just get this pulled up here. Here we go. First call coming up today is we got Ariana Miller. She called 216-345-4443, and she just wanted to show some love to G. Bush, man. I appreciate it.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system.
Hi, I don't know if G. Bush is going to hear this. I am a big Cleveland fan, and I dislike listening to all those podcasters, all that foolishness. I just love listening to you and Quincy Carrier. I hope you keep doing this, because otherwise I'm not going to know too much of anything. Keep up the good work.
Thank you so much, Ariana. I appreciate all of you guys out there who take time to listen to me. Shout out to Quincy Carrier too, man. Listen, that's my homie over there. He's doing great things over there. Make sure you check his channel out. But you know what? What I try to bring to the table is authenticity. I try to tell it like it is, and I always try to get involved with the people. I want to hear what you guys got to say, and thank you so much for your support. I can remember a point in time when I was just doing this on my couch. I was just doing this as something to, get my voice out and my opinion out, and it's turned into something great. So thank you so much for your comments. And if you want to be on the Browns hotline and give your fan mail and questions and comments heard, you can reach out just like Ariana did at 216-345-4433. Let's get to our second comment and fan mail question.
Hello, each fan of the show. Just want to ask about what you think number one need Brian Lee the drafted, and what player needs to be extended the most.
All right. Well, thank you. That calls from a caller. If you didn't catch that, it was a little low, but he asked, what's the Browns' biggest need when it comes to talking about the Browns' biggest need coming up, and who is the Browns' biggest key free agents that you think that they should re-sign. And so thank you so much for jumping in with us. I appreciate that. And I'll tell you like this, I've been all over it. I've been telling people for years, I'm all in the Operation Stockpile. Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown, who you see on the screen right now, speed can get vertical. I think he's a guy that could give you some of the same things that Zay Flowers gave the Ravens. I think that they had good intentions when it came to getting Goodwin. Unfortunately, the blood clots kind of slowed him down this year. Never really got into the swing of things, and then he had the concussion. I also think there's a guy, Michael Pittman Jr., a guy who's a big body receiver, took it to the house on the Browns this year when we played at Lucas Oil Stadium. Big body, good size, good speed. Guess what? over 1,200 yards, had a career year over there with Gardner Minshew. I think he's a guy that I would definitely target if he's available, if the Colts don't make sure that they, bring him back because they got Anthony Richardson, a young quarterback, and then we keep it moving. You already know what it is. we go down to Jacksonville and get to Calvin Ridley. I thought he had a really nice year as well down in Jacksonville. He would look good in a Browns uniform. Now, listen, the guy I really want, but I don't even think gonna hit the market, is one T. Higgins. T. Higgins is a guy that has shown that he could be a number one receiver in this league, plays in the division with Jamar Chase. I think he's a true number one receiver. The problem is with T. Higgins, and this is going to be sucky. This is the bad part for us, is that T. Higgins is a guy who looks like he might get franchised. I don't understand why Joe Burrow would sign off on that. I don't understand why they wouldn't franchise him. Heck, I franchised him twice. He's that good of a receiver. And then finally, Mike Evans, our good friend, our old pal, Baker Mayfield, throwing the ball to Mike Evans. I think this guy is a borderline Hall of Famer. I think he will eventually make the Hall of Fame. All he does is catch touchdown passes, double digits again. Mike Evans is as good as they come in this league. And so I would look at him, but I also think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will franchise him as well. Let's go into answer your second part of the question. Guys that I think the Browns should sign or re-sign. Let's go to Sione Takitaki. I think Takitaki played well outside, but when he really hit his stride when, Anthony Walker went out, I think Takitaki goes to the middle. Definitely is part of the game. I think they should bring him back. When you have him and JOK, I think you got two of the better linebackers. JOK is a bona fide star right now. I think he broke out last season, but Takitaki coming off injury, good, solid player, and I think you need guys like that to continue on with this defense under Schwartz. Let's go to the defensive line. Another guy I think you should bring back. You got to love it. You got to love your Maurice Hurst, man. Injuries got him this year, but this is another one that AB got right. Maurice Hurst, you look at his PFF grades, has some ability to pass rush. I thought he was one of the better defensive tackles, pass rushing, did good job getting upfield. I think Maurice Hurst is a guy, no-brainer, you bring Brad. And then finally, we'll stay on the defensive line. Shelby Harris. Shelby Harris is another one-year guy that I think the Browns should definitely bring back. He's a guy that could get upfield, guy that gives you some stability up front. I thought him and Jordan Elliott played well down the stretch. And these are just a few guys that I would say that you would look at potentially, bringing those individuals back. I think it's imperative that you do that. And I think that's where the guys you bring back should be located at. A couple of minutes here. We'll get to a couple of your comments here. Let's get to a couple of comments to finish this thing off. Let's go. Let's see. Grass and Brass. Says, G. Bush, do you think Kevin Stefanski deserved Coach of the Year or D'Amico? I think Coach D'Amico Ryans was right there. I think if you would have factored in the fact that D'Amico Ryans was, they put a hurting on us in the playoffs, and you had a rookie quarterback, I would have said that if you included included into the totality of the decision. They tied on votes. I can't be mad at Kevin Stefanski. I thought he did a great job. I mean, given the fact that what he had to do, it could have split hairs at this point. I could see either one doing it, either one winning. Last time a rookie coach and rookie quarterback went to the playoffs was Rex and Sanchez. I think D'Amico got robbed. Texas were 3-13 the year before. Hey, I think some, especially in Houston, I think some of them would definitely say they got robbed a little bit. Robbed and be strong, but I do think he was well deserving of it. Let's continue with Silver Licious says, hi, congratulations to the Browns organization. Looking forward to next season. Let's go. My man, my rail. What's up, Swade? You already know what it is. Joseph Potter, I love Taki and Hurst. Let's keep it moving. Let's get one more in here. Daniel Kutchin says, Browns' biggest need is running back depth. I would not be mad at all if they had to bring in another guy to help out my man Nick Chubb because he might be a little banged up. With that being said, man, this is the fastest 30 minutes in all the game. We want to thank everybody for checking in with us. Don't forget, coming back on Monday. Monday, we got Jerry Ball in the building, and we continue to take your calls, your fan mail questions as well. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when we're coming on. And most of all, if you want to be part of the show, hit that hotline. Hit that hotline. We'll get to your questions. With that being said, it's your boy G Bush. You never know where I'm going to be at. I might be here. I might be there. I may be everywhere. But the best thing I can tell you how to find your boy is listen to the Clippers. Have a great weekend and go Browns.